Hello, fellow humans, Homo sapiens. Yannis Pappas here. For those of you still interested in live entertainment, if you have not cut your discretionary budget yet, due to the rising cost of living, you can come see me live for a little entertainment. What I do is I make you laugh, which is sort of like a face orgasm or whatever. It's a little break from reality. It's a nice night out. If you have a babysitter, I don't expect too many young people to come out anymore, even though those are the people that seem to have what they call a dispensary budget. What is the word I'm talking about? Discrepancy, discretionary budget, a discretionary budget. Those tend to be the people who spend money the most, who don't have 5, 10-year, 15-year plans. So I welcome all the youth, and in turn, I will act young. Hey, man, what's going on? Am I mid? I don't know if I'm mid or meh. I don't know. Am I based? I'll do it for you. I'll dance. I'll throw on my fitted and my Jordans and pander, because those are the people I'm trying to get, because you guys spend the money, man. I can't rely on people my age to come out and see the money, because they are a little wiser about their money, and they're going to have to cut. They're going to have to cut some of their discretionary spending because supermarket costs went up. Boo. Boo. But if you're interested in that sort of thing, I will be in Miami. September 11th, 12th, and 13th. Bakersfield, California, which I don't know why I'm going there. I'm doing these shows so my managers can recoup a little bit of the money they spent on their trip to Austin to film my special, which they put on the corporate card. So, I mean, they write it off, but, we're just doing a little thing to the new year. And so they're getting their commissions, and I'm getting booked in these places, Bakersfield, California, for a pointless show. But I'm going to enjoy it, and the peoples of Bakersfield will enjoy it. I'll be in Toronto. This is a gig I love. Nice little theater. One night, October 18th. Tulsa, the 24th and 25th. I don't assume those will sell well unless some of my right-leaning stand-up clips have gone viral in that area. So I expect that. And then Bozeman, Montana. Same. Hopefully those clips about moving to the country from my new special Property Owner. If you haven't seen it, it's free on YouTube. Hopefully a few of those have gone viral there. And a scattering and smattering of History Hyena fans here and there. But that's about it. Let's be honest. I'm not a direct reflection of a demographic. So there will be struggling in some places to sell tickets. I mean, the tickets that I sell on the East Coast are because I'm more of a reflection of that. But usually those come with the dress and a wig. Or Greeks just coming out to support me because I have a Greek name and then leaving the show and being disappointed that I didn't do more Greek jokes. So I'm as far as marketing would go, a marketer would come over and say, we got to clean you up a little bit. What are you? Who are you? Are you the liberal who turned conservative because of the special? Are you the anti-woke comedian because of the Mom Love special? Are you the wild guy, but also sort of like the grounder because History Hyenas, you're like the Ren to the Stimpy? I mean, what are you exactly? And then you go to the Yannis Pappas era. What are you, sort of this like, joker, philosopher? What are you doing here? What are you doing here? Who are you? A marketer would say you're a little bit of a mess, and I would say, hey, man, I'm an artist. I'm trying to express myself in the ways that I want to express myself, I guess. Or ChatGPT would tell me this is more about a childhood issue, that you want to get noticed and likes because your parents didn't pay attention to you, so you're trying to earn your worth because you don't feel worthy. And they take all the fun out of it by telling me the truth. So what is it really? I would say, hey, maybe I'm a little bit of all those things. And a marketer would go, well, pick a lane, buddy. We're selling tickets to teens. We're selling cigarettes to teens. We're selling music to teens. Okay? We don't market NWA to white 50-year-olds. So what are you doing? You're just throwing it out there? Then what's your bait? You're throwing a net out with caviar, with cheeseburgers, all in the same net. Pick it. Is it going to be cheeseburgers or is it going to be caviar? And I'm going to say, well, can't I just be different than different folks? Can't the Latin fans, can't they just understand? No. The marketing expert would say no, because if any of the people that liked you because of the characters you just saw this, they would go, what the fuck? And they would have an existentialist kind of, they'd have an identity crisis for me. And they go, what is this? Their brains would break. And I understand. I'm that comic. I'm that one comic. I can't think of another one, to be honest with you. I can't think of one other persons. I can't think of one other person where you're going like, what are you doing, man? You know? What's going on? This podcast is so much different from History Hyenas. History Hyenas is so much different from my character work. And then my stand-up, I think, is most like this, but a lot funnier. So people see me live and they go like, I didn't know that was going to be so like nonstop funny. Not toot my own horn, but you know, that's what happens. It's a little less heavy. I don't go out there and go, you know what? Let's ponder the 1,000-year-old question about freedom and age and how democracy and freedom affects age and the order of society, which is what we're going to do on this episode. I don't do that when I go and stand up. I go, hey, man, my wife and stuff. So that's more of a my wife and stuff now. But you can see me in Bozeman, Montana on November 22nd, Stanford, Connecticut on the 5th and 6th, and West Nyack, New York. And I don't want to do Maurice anymore just because I'm burnt out on it. But I think I'm going to have to for Stanford. And when am I just going to say that's the last time? But, you know, so many people still want to see it. So, but I do stand up for most of it. And then I trick you by doing 15 minutes of her at the end. Sometimes 10. So that's just what we do. But I'm making a good living, so I'm not complaining. And I enjoy it, and I enjoy myself, so I'm not complaining. I also am displaying that I have a solid understanding about the confusion. There's not just one message going out. And especially in this age, you got to have one repetitive message, right? The algorithm loves cosplaying psychopath extremists. That's what they like. So you put out an extreme video that, you know, is a catfish headline, something extreme, and then you need to double down and continue. I get it. Rinse and repeat. That's what it wants. You can't throw out one video about Bridget McCrone being a man and then the next one go to something completely different. The algorithm gets confused. The algorithm itself, not putting any moral judgment on, is a psychopath. It has no emotions. It just reads patterns like a psychopath. A psychopath's got a tiny little amygdala, like a Chinese penis. Just a tiny little amygdala, to use that analogy. That's what psychopaths have, is a tiny little emotion area of their brain. And so they just read patterns and mimic you, and that's what the algorithm does. The algorithm, you're trying to seduce a psychopath. And the way you do that is by giving it what it wants. And what it wants is something it can understand. And robots understand the same thing. They understand psychopathy. And if you're not a psychopath, then you have to cosplay psychopathy in order to seduce the unseducible because it doesn't have emotions. So what's the most important thing in marketing is the question you want to ask. What's the most important thing? When you go to a 4-year college to study marketing, what is the most important thing? The most important thing is, who are they? What do they need? What motivates them? And what problems do they want solved? That's what it is. You got to ask those questions, right? Now, that would run antithetical to art, which is just like, hey, I'm not thinking about my audience. I am thinking about this thing in me that needs to come out. I need to dance. I need to dance. I need to celebrate my soul. I need to unleash my barbaric yelp onto the world. I need to inconvenience you with my expression and either titillate you or annoy you. But that's not my concern, because my primary concern is narcissistic. I need to make. Artists need to create. We're not trying to solve any problems, right? Because we're not trying to sell anything. We're trying to connect. Trying to connect to you. So I'm not thinking about who you are. When you get into the thing of the realm of marketing, you start tailoring your message based on a demographic. The secret that marketers know is one that's very cynical and one that is very depressing. And that is that most people are not different. There's probably about 4 or 5 differences, right? You know, there's people who love change. There's people who rebel. There's people who hate change, and there's younger or older people. I think that's how market. Of course, there's a bunch of subgenres in there. Do you like tennis? Blah 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 blah. Or do you like paddle? Do you like to play a little pickle paddle? You know, there's subgenres, of course, but basically they break us up by age and they just package us in this one little thing. And why it's cynical and depressing is because they're usually, and when I say usually, I mean almost always right. They know. They work on stereotypes. And stereotypes are usually mostly true. And when I say mostly, I mean 97%. Okay? It's going to be that way. When you're selling product, you got to go by stereotype. And you go, what do white suburban kids like? What do girls like from age 13 to 26? And it's like fucking, yeah. They like fucking, dildos and vibrators and like fuck boys and reality TV or whatever, they come up with. And the reason why I start with this little shallow dive into marketing is because we are the United States of advertising. When you say the USA, it is not the United States of America. It is the United States of advertising, especially post-World War II. Okay? We built the country up, and then once we became a power after World War II, we asserted our dominance. We said, now it's time to make some little money from all our little bitches around the world. That's what it is. We're not going to conquer you, but you're going to give us your money and we're going to sell you shit because you're our bitch. We're going to assert our influence around the world, and damn it, whether you like it or not, English is going to become the lingua franca, and you're all going to learn it as a second language because we are going multinational with this thing, sweetheart. Take our cheeseburger, take our baseball, take Subway and the pedophile that's selling it to you, and we are going to become your shining cheeseburger on a hill. Okay, when you get up to the hill, you're going to realize it was shellacked, but from looking down up to the tippy top of that hill, boy, does that cheeseburger look good. Boy, does that milkshake look good. Boy, does that Camaro, boy, does that convertible with 2 teens who've been finger blasted by high-level executives in Hollywood look great. Their life looks great with the palm trees and Corey Haim and Corey Feldman sitting in a convertible, solving the movie's problem while they're driving, where these overgrown, artificially watered palm trees are just lacing the landscape and the sun is shining. It's magic hour. And you go, boy, this doesn't look like Aleppo, where I live. Boy, this doesn't look like the streets of Nice. Boy, this looks nothing, absolutely nothing like Baghdad. It looks nothing like the rural landscape of Japan. It looks a lot better. And we dangle it and we say, yeah, don't you want it too? Well, you can either try to come here or you can listen to the music we listen to where you live and you can start doing it. And then the Japanese started becoming cholos. They started breakdancing. The Russians started rapping. You ever listen to Russian rap? The Greeks started rapping. The Norwegians, because they were depressive people anyway, started doing death metal and took it to a whole new level, right? All American created. Heavy metal, rock and roll, cheeseburgers, fries, pizza. It's American. It's not Italian, okay? Everyone's smoking cigarettes. How did that happen? How did that happen? The Native Americans are our conquered people. Okay? We took the tobacco from them. So why are you smoking it in Romania? You're smoking it because you saw a Marlboro ad and you say, that guy looks fucking cool. That guy looks like he's got things under control. He's lassoing cattle and he's got a 5 o'clock shadow. He looks cool. He looks like the guy who I want to be. So, what enabled this? What enabled it? Well, American culture, the American founding, the experiment of freedom. Freedom, baby. Freedom. How good is freedom? Can you be too free? I don't know. Many people have warned you can. Many of those people are some of our most coveted thinkers. Some of them go by the name of Socrates, Aristotle, Polybius, Cicero, Machiavelli, Montesquieu, Rousseau, de Tocqueville, John Stuart Mill, Nietzsche, Ortega y Gasset in the 1930s, Hannah Arendt, Christopher Lasch. What do these people have in common? Well, they warned that when a society gets too free, things become chaotic, chaos rules the day, and the landscape is fertile for totalitarianism. Someone to come in and fill the void and offer order in the chaos. Are we here? I don't know. How did we get here? Advertising. What do advertisers advertise to you? You want to be more free? You got herpes. You want me to free you from the herpes so you can enjoy a kayak on a river with no cares? Are you a black family in the snow? Do you want to smile and be happy? Have a Newport, right? Do you want to eat the most delicious thing you've ever eaten for $2 and be free from your financial budget and your health concerns? Golden arches are here for you. Do you want to be like Mike? Do you want to be like Mike? Well, all it is sneakers. That's what made Mike Mike. I mean, what good would a Nike commercial be if it said to you, all right, listen, you can't be like Mike. Because not even pro athletes who play this sport can ever be like Mike, because they're just not as good as Mike. Why are they not as good as Mike? Well, because Mike isn't exactly free. What Mike does in his downtime is work tirelessly at his game over and over and over and over again. And he's viciously competitive and he has no friends. And everyone secretly hates him and he abuses his teammates. Do you want to be like Mike? Or would you just like the sneakers? Would you just like me to exploit your cognitive biases and let you know that you can't understand nuance because I'm going to hijack your neocortex and go right to your amygdala, which is based in your nervous system. And your nervous system just wants to fit in and be cool. So I'm just going to play to that and just say, hey, it's the sneakers. It's got to be the shoes. It's got to be the shoes. Right? We're all moral, right? Spike Lee's a moral guy for the community. He ain't against selling them $300 shoes based on a myth. He ain't based on a myth backed by an absolute asshole. He'll sell you those shoes if the price is right. Hey, look, billionaires are the real problem, okay? And the guy who killed the CEO is a hero. What's his name?
Luigi.
Luigi's a hero. But if Saudi Arabia offers me fucking $500,000 to go do a show, I'm going to go do it. Everyone's moral till the price tag comes because we are American, even if you don't need the money. Okay? If it benefits you, you're not going to look too far into what the Saudi Arabian government does. You're going to take the $500,000. You're going to take the $1,000,000. You're going to take the $2,000,000. And I'm not blaming anybody. I'm saying this is American culture. American culture is money. It's money. It's ourselves. We don't see past ourselves. We don't see past the consequences on society. We're very myopic, very nearsighted. It's like, how does this affect my family's budget? How does this affect me and my family's budget? Who the fuck is thinking about society? Have you ever driven on a highway and seen all the fucking trash that's thrown on the side? Nobody cares about society because you'd have to be part of a tribe. You'd have to be part of a culture that lasted millions of years, that was born out of a tribe, that survived together, that flourished together, that stayed in the same place together. Like the Swedes, the Norwegians, the Japanese on an island, But we're a hodgepodge here. And the only thing we have in common, like I've said before, is we're here to loot. We're here to loot. Our grandparents came here to loot. That's what they came here. To be more free, to what? To pray? Give me a fucking break. If you could pray and be a member of the Catholic Church and deal with getting your butthole fucking fingered, but they offered you $3 million, you would have stayed in Italy. You would have stayed in Greece. Right? You would have taken the money. That was the problem with the Catholic Church, is they didn't wet the beaks. They took, but they did not give. Hollywood gave. And they would have got away with it if it wasn't for you meddling kids. It was a system that worked for a long time, right? What did Harvey Weinstein say? Transactional sex. That's what he called it. Transactional sex. And it was a system that worked. I have the power. I commit the moral infraction, but I compensate you for it so you can live better. So yeah, you sweat a little bit at night. You have a couple bad memories, but you drown them out in a Fendi bag or a latte or a trip to Monaco, right? Yes, I take advantage of your weaknesses. You want to be famous because your dad didn't notice you, whatever. I offer it to you, but you have to lift up my fat gut and overlook my cratered raisin-looking face and suck on my smelly Miramax peen. But it's very temporary. It's like getting your eyebrows threaded. The pain doesn't last. Yes, it sticks around as an unpleasant memory, but you can drown it out with a first-class ticket. Transactional sex. The Catholic Church made their mistake is they touch you when you're young, when you may or may not remember it, but then people started remembering. And that's when you got to fucking be proactive and hand out the payments before people talk. Right? Preempt it. Whatever force is behind Epstein, and when I say whatever force, I say it like this: whatever force is behind Epstein knew that they had to silence the accusers before this thing went mainstream. So what did they do? They created a fund, some sort of fund. They had a fund. I don't know if you do this. They have a fund, and they just paid out with NDAs. Payout, meaning you're breaking the law and nullifying your contract if you talk about what Bill Gates did to you. Allegedly. Right? They got ahead of it. Transactional. Here's your $13 million. Does that compensate for what I did to you when you were 15? When I promised I was going to be your mentor and hook you up with all these connections, but all you were doing was rubbing me down? Transactional. It was a system that was in place for a long time until the people found out. Okay? So the people found out. Just like one of my favorite movies, one of the best. It has two lines that I always stuck with me. Okay? The movie's called True Colors. It's with John Cusack and James Spader. And he goes, you may get away with it for an election cycle or two. You may even but God help you when the people find out. and the people always find out. And when the internet came, you couldn't control the narratives anymore. And narratives are imperative to power. Power doesn't maintain itself on truth because we're all flawed. It maintains itself on narratives. Every leader is like, I'm holy. Every leader tells you white is black and freedom and tyranny is freedom. And they build a narrative. You can't maintain the Pharaoh system if you don't manipulate cognitive biases to make people believe. And what I mean by cognitive biases is fear of death. Make people believe that you're holy. How are you going to maintain a cult if you can't convince people that you are doing what God wants you to do? I'm not going to let you fuck my wife unless you prove to me that you are Jesus Christ incarnate. And I'm listening if the story's good enough. But you need charisma to sell the story. And they always have that. I mean, have you ever taken a second to listen to Charles Manson? I am fucking captivated. You ever watch Nick Fuentes for more than 30 seconds? I can't turn it off. Charisma is the tool that sells the narrative. I mean, it's amazing. The pharaohs made people believe this for a long time. Divine right of kings. I mean, this was something that people didn't even question, right? One of the great things about this era is we finally just accepted that CBD just calms you down and people like it. I like it. I use it. I use it regularly. And I love cornbread hemp. All right. If life's been a little crazy and there's one thing that can help you unwind, cornbread hemp CBD gummies is that thing. Have you been looking for a natural way to relieve aches and discomfort? The CBD gummies from Cornbread Hemp are formulated to work with your body, not against it. You know, my birthday just passed, and I am not as young as I once was. And that's why I really love CBD, and I take Cornbread Hemp regularly. I care a lot about maintaining my physical and mental wellness, and Cornbread Hemp CBD gummies are a huge piece of Yanni's wellness plan. Have you tried everything under the sun, people? For peace of mind, huh? It sounds like it's time for you to try Cornbread Hemp CBD gummies then. Cornbread Hemp gummies are made to help you feel better, whether it's stress, discomfort, or just needing a little relaxation. They got the purest and most potent CBD around. All right, they only use the best part of the hemp plant. So right now, the Yannis Pappas Hour listeners can save 30%. That's great. On their first order, just head to cornbreadhemp.com/Yannis. Use the code Yannis at checkout. That's cornbreadhemp.com/Yannis. YANNIS. Use the code Yannis. All right, let's just be honest, guys. There's some of you out there that want to be studs in the bedroom. And by some, I mean all of us. And nowadays, Hims has got your back when it comes to ED treatment options. It's personalized treatment we're talking about, okay? And ED is a little more common than you think and simpler to treat than ever. Thank God. Through Hims, you can connect online with a licensed provider to access personalized treatment options discreetly and on your terms. Get hard and stay hard. Through Hims, you can access personalized prescription treatments, hard mints, Sex RX, plus Climax Control. You want to be an all-star, baby? Well, Hims has got you back. You shouldn't have to go out of your way to feel like yourself. Hims brings expert care straight to you with 100% online access. And they put your goals first. This isn't a one-size-fits-all, people, okay? That forgets you and leaves you in the waiting room. It's your health and goals put first with real medical providers making sure you get what you need to get results. So, it's very simple. No doctor's office, nothing, boom. It's 100% online access. It's great. To get simple online access to personalized, affordable care for ED, hair loss, weight loss, and more, visit hims.com/Yannis. That's hims.com/Yannis for your free online visit. hims.com/Yannis. Before I read this, let's just say, Jesse's been using Hims, and this is a true story. Came in and I said, did you get hair tits? Because it's worked. His hair looks fuller, and I'm just telling you that that's the truth. I'm giving you a true fact. And how long did you use it for?
3 months.
3 months. And it works. Now I have to read this. Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products include compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information. My other favorite line from True Colors, well, there's a few. Man, it's one of those underrated like movies. Like whoever wrote that script just fucking nailed it. But it has so many good lines. So many good quotes. Friendship's like the morning dew. It settles on some roses and it settles on some dog shit. Here's another one. Sure, but now it costs you. You don't own it until it costs you. There's so many good lines. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. What's this all have to do with the topic of the day? What it has to do, the reason it's a nice setup for the topic of the day is this is what the American culture is narrative, it's bullshit, because that's what you need to sell your product. What did we tell you at the beginning? What problem are you trying to solve? Well, what if there's not a problem? Well, you got to make money, right? So you got to create one. So you do that with a narrative, right? Hey, penis, this is penis. You think if there was really something that enlarged your penis, every guy wouldn't be on it? It would be like a slice of pizza. Everyone would be aware of it. Everyone would be partaking and consuming it. But do you know that there's people who've made millions and millions and millions of dollars off penis enlargement pills? You know? And the placebo effect or belief, when they look at their penis, they must think, wow, it looks bigger just because they took the thing. And, you know, these are imperfect machines up here. We have tons of cognitive biases. Our reasoning gets hijacked all the time by our amygdala. The amygdala is ancient. It just wants to survive. What that means is fit in. So if I know you're fitting in for your survival and you're not even aware that you need to fit in for your survival, I will play on that, right? Even if you're not aware of it. How does that manifest itself in American culture? Do you want to be fucking cool or not? Okay? Do you want chicks to bang you or not? Okay? It's as simple as that. No, you don't see a Coke commercial and they go, this is fucking good for you. They go, do you want to be cool or not? There's only one way to sell poison to people is to fucking say, do you want to be out or in? It's as simple as that. If LeBron James is fucking drinking Sprite, how cool, how much do you look at, he's a hero. They're not going to have me pitch Sprite. Right? You can have LeBron James pitch Sprite. Because you're going, hey, let's get these urban youth to want to be like LeBron. And LeBron goes, I'll take the check. You go, wait, aren't you just poisoning your people? He goes, what? This is America, dude. We're all poisoning each other. Everyone's poisoning everyone. We don't have any common ethos. There's no philotimo, which is a Greek word that comes into culture. And even when you do have philotimo, do you think the Greeks aren't ripping each other off? It's human nature. Selfish little pigs. And I think we turned selfish when we didn't have to live in tribes anymore. You know, because it used to be, you know, you want to know the real reason why you're scared to talk to the popular guy's girl or whatever? It's because you don't want to be ostracized from the clan. That's why a lot of people aren't trying to bang Melania Trump. They don't want to be ostracized from the clan. I don't know what I'm talking about now, but there's something there. But this is America. America is about commerce. It is about buying and selling. It is about capitalism. It's a young culture, hundreds of years old. The only thing we have in common is football, right? And America's Got Talent. It's the now stuff. It's not a long tradition of stuff, right? Some people got here 20 years ago, some 40 years ago, right? We're made up of the rest of the world. So that's the thing we have in common. And so advertising has raised us all and played on our insecurities and and played on our cognitive biases to fit in and survive. These ancient, reptilian brain biases, these loopholes in our brain. And they sell us stuff with their charisma, with their flashing lights, usher on a rainbow, selling you Skittles, whatever it may be. As a result of that, we have worshiped youth. We've started to worship youth, right? And also, the precepts of our founding are freedom to pursue happiness, freedom to not be encumbered by religion, separation of church and state, representation, no taxation without representation. So you send someone to Congress. You say, this is the guy we elected to represent my district, my people, my neighborhood, councilman. We're doing the best we can. Basically, the founding of our country looked at the history and said, boy, this was all shit. Let's try to fix all that. No more kings. That was bullshit. Basically, can you agree that that's really what it was? Like, they basically met and went, boy, wasn't that a bunch of bullshit? That's basically what it was. When they met in Philly, New York, like, this is just that was all a bunch of bull. Can you believe people bought that shit? I mean, they were handing down the thrones to inbred children, making people rulers at 10 years old. And you look and you go, it's not always the case, okay? Yeah, Del Curry was a good shooter. Yeah, his son's better. But how about the other one? Does he deserve to be prince? How about the other one? Does that make him a prince? Does Brent Barry get to have the throne just because Rick Barry? We started using reason a little bit and going like, inheritance is stupid. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, look at Michael Jordan's son. He did coke and he got arrested. So just because he was a king, we're going to make all his kids princes? So for generations, we were ruled by these fucking Neros, these like incompetent inbreds, cousin fucking and all this shit to hold power. And they were able to hold the power because people hadn't thought of any better system because everyone was scared. Because if you questioned it, they cut your head off. And how did they do that? Well, they had a whole class of people, whether they were called knights, whether they were called janissary, whatever, every empire, every kingdom did it differently. Knights, then you had your samurais in the east. They paid off a class of people that were stronger than them and said, we're going to fucking wet your beak like your beak had never been wet. You just fight for us and maintain this order. They made it real juicy because they were like, most people are just peasants. The only thing that becomes a threat to us is if these peasants get unified somehow. So you just go in there and cut it up however you want to cut it up constantly with your swords, with your whatevers. Cut it up. Just make sure it's always cut up so we can keep blood sucking off these people who live on our land, taxing them and making them till the land and produce the food that we will waste with our orgies, with eunuchs and transgenders and women and men and just grapes, just fermented grapes and real grapes and just silks and linens and tobacco. And, well, what is this, opium from India? Just getting high. They just got high. And they always had some, like, advisor who really ran shit. Some, like, obsequious, like, ballless eunuch who really ran things while they just got blown and stuck things in their asshole and cut themselves and just rape boys and whatever they could to keep their high going because they're inbred. They're mutants. And Americans just had a meeting and they were like, they got a little space from that. Basically going to America was their Zoloft. They had a little space. They got a little distance from it and they went, this was all ridiculous. And so they cherry picked the best ideas going all the way back to antiquity, to the French Revolution, to enlightenments in England and France and Rome and Greece and took some math from the Arab world. They just took all the best and they said, let's just start afresh with all the best. And they did. And it's not a coincidence we became the most powerful, considering we were operating from those precepts. But what are the dangers of those precepts? Well, first of all, let's just, recap what the precepts are, right? Freedom, inalienable rights, individualism. The individual's paramount, not the group. We're definitely not communists. When that came along, we were like, no. We are about the individual here. Okay. Well, like many things, is that perfect? Well, according to Socrates, he rang this alarm bell in 360 BC. And you got to remember, he was basically living through a time like now, Socrates. Right? Sophists were flourishing. Debate was the norm, right? Because direct democracy was just enacted. So you had all these stars coming out. Have you heard this guy coming out of fucking the Peloponnese? How about this guy? He can speak, man. He's entertaining. And they would debate truth. And Socrates was the guy, according to Plato, who would go in there and use the Socratic method, which is obviously coined after him, by just asking questions. And the questions would reveal how full of shit they were. And that's what he did. Because truth was on the back burner and narrative won the day and charisma was what mattered. So according to one of our greatest thinkers, what happens when things get too free, excess freedom, you can see it all around you. The father gets accustomed to behave like the child and the child like the father. The old imitate the young, fearing to seem disagreeable or authoritarian. The citizens become so sensitive that the least touch of authority is resented as intolerable until at last they cease to care even for the laws, written or unwritten, and thus liberty produces the utmost anarchy. And out of that anarchy rises your despot to control everything. Right? And uses force to just, to sow some order back into the equation. So, do we see that a little bit now? I mean, it all kind of rang a bell to me. It all kind of rang a bell. Now, a lot of these thinkers, what they distinguish, they call freedom, if freedom becomes license, that's when the problem becomes. That's when the problem starts, when it's license. They're saying freedom has to be tempered with morality, responsibility, duty, philotimo, as the Greeks would call it. It needs to be tempered by something. Otherwise, it's just a force, an unchained force. Aristotle then reiterated, when liberty is carried to excess and the citizens claim to do as they please, then the state is at the mercy of a faction and ceases to be a democracy at all, for the rule of law is displaced by the rule of men. Now, much like in Socrates' time, when direct democracy seems to unleash this phenomena of truth up for debate, the internet has similarly done the same, right? It's like the truth's up for debate. Nobody knows what's true anymore. It's like, who can sell it the best? Then Polybius, the Greek historian, said, so it comes about that democracy in the course of time is transformed into government by violence and the strong hand. The result is that the people, growing weary of the disorder, settle down into monarchy. At the time, what that means is ruler, stern ruler. So that is the conclusion to what Aristotle and Socrates were saying. Cicero, we are servants of the laws that we may be free. For liberty is not the ability to do what one pleases, but to live as one ought. So he's the one who made the distinguish the best. License is the enemy of liberty. So he distinguished between liberty and license. This is like a college fucking class. I mean, I'm not entertaining you all, but you all are captivated at the end of your seat. And by all of you, I mean, it's a smaller number. Machiavelli similarly said, this won't take long, in republics, license soon begins to prevail under the name of liberty. You can see that they all studied each other too, and in sequence, which is great. And this was 1517. So you could tell he was reading Cicero because he used that distinction between license and liberty. will prevail under the name of liberty. Each man lives as he pleases until at last, growing weary of the state of things, men willingly submit to slavery by a despot. And a lot of them, like to Tocqueville in the 1835, which is pretty recent, excessive liberty soon defeats the end it seeks. Equality pushes men to imitate one another. Interesting. Until all distinctions between young and old, father and son, female and male, master and pupil are obliterated. Then the people, weary of their own independence, surrender its arms to a single master. I could go on to John Stuart Mill, Nietzsche, and more modern iterations from Christopher Lasch. Since he's the last one, I'll just say the cult of youth has eroded parental authority. The father seeks to imitate the son. The teacher fears the pupil. Authority loses its dignity. And society, far from being liberated, is paralyzed by its inability to command respect. So that is fucking America, baby. Because if you're over 40, fuck you. Get out of the way. You are fucking cramping my style, Grandpa. You're a boomer. You have nothing to offer. Your wisdom, my pisdom, bitch. I got the new fucking iPhone. I got the latest fucking Call of Duty. Fuck you, baby. I'm trading NFTs. And I'm watching the Jake Paul fight tonight, bitch. I'm going to fight a 60-year-old man who may or may not have Parkinson's, and you're going to pay to watch it. And I'm going to do it all under the guise of how much I respect him. This has nothing to do with a cash grab. This is a personal fucking milestone for me. It's got nothing to do with commerce. Can you imagine if they just sold it like that with the truth? Like, hey, I'm going to trick everyone into thinking Mike Tyson's got something left in the tank, even though we watched his last 5 to 6 fights, even 20 years ago, and he was just out of gas. He just had nothing left then. But now he's going to face a guy 30 years younger who can actually punch pretty hard. And he's got a shot. And we all signed up for it because we're American fucking morons who like a good sale. And he caked off. And we all go, well, Mike got paid. Well, it was elder abuse. I mean, you know. That's what it, I mean, is there a better analogy to what we do to our old people than what Jake Paul did to Mike Tyson? Right? Now, when you start creeping into the fucking late 50s, 60s, and 70s, mom and dad, get your fucking ass out of my house and into an old folks home because your needs are really fucking making me nauseous. Because I got dreams, I got aspirations, and I can't have people see you. You're old and gross. You're old and gross. How many 3-generation households do you think there are in the United States? Not many. How many 3 households do you think there are in Europe and North Africa? Not many. Is it a coincidence that where our culture has gone, 3-generation households have diminished? No, because advertising worships youth. Why does it worship youth? Because youth is the ultimate idea of freedom. Be free from your knee injuries. Because, you know, when you get into your 70s, your life is basically your social engagements are doctor's appointments. If you want to hang out with people, don't worry, your schedule is going to be full of knee doctors and back doctors and neurologists and cardiovascular surgeon. I mean, the list goes on. You're going to need a good dermatologist. But we in America just think that these people have nothing of value to offer us because they don't know what the word mid means. And then on the flip side, we put people in office who really should be drinking applesauce and enjoying their great grandkids. So it's a very extreme culture. Can we go back to the late 40s, 50s, 60s? How about even just early 70s? Ruling the country? And then when you're done, you can't be Nancy Pelosi. You can't be fucking Ruth Bader Ginsburg. You can't be 90 years old with half a foot and half a head and still be in a position of power. But you also can't be fucking 26. Or maybe you can, because those people need representation. My point is, we don't have obviously, we don't have a hierarchy of respect based on age. I mean, any commercial you see, dude, I mean, it's like Hollywood. You're a 40-year-old woman. You're a grandma now. You're a grandma. When's the last time you saw an advertisement with someone who was 52 as a woman? Right? All the old, once you're 65, the only people talking to you is the pharmaceutical industry. They don't, they don't even consider you still alive. They consider you not dead yet. You're marketed to as, hey, do you want to continue to be not dead yet? I know you have no happiness or anything, or do you want to be not dead yet? They ignore the fact that old people got a huge disposable income. I mean, I went to the Beach Boys concert. It was packed. I mean, it was terrible. I mean, the guy shouldn't be on tour anymore. I'm just being honest. His voice is gone. But old people need things to do, and they have more disposable income. But nobody's talking to those people because we're American, and it makes us uncomfortable. Aging makes us uncomfortable. So why would we sit down and talk to anyone older to give us life's lessons or respect anyone older for their experience if it makes us uncomfortable because it reminds us of our own mortality? Americans don't want to be reminded of our mortality because advertisers have conditioned us that if you just take this cream, you'll be hard forever. If you put this on, you'll be cool forever. We don't want to think about death. We don't want to think about finitude. We don't want to think about reality. It's all an escape, which is what lies and illusions are. An escape. So we just don't respect our old people. The coveted demographic is 18 to what?
24.
18 to 24. 18 to 24. Now, is any of this changing, you think? The way society's changing? Is it all changing at all? Will AI change any of this? Will we all just become equal meat? Will we all just become equal meat fuel for robots like in the Matrix, and we'll all have something in common? So now they've upped it to 1834?
Looks like a wider net.
That's a good sign. At least they're considering 32-year-old people alive. Do you see any problem with this? Is there any truth to the way we want to throw out our old people in America? Because I look at all these blue zone societies, and if you don't know what a blue zone society is, these places in the world where people live the longest. And the quality of living is the best. One of the primary pieces of evidence that they see is that people live intergenerationally. They don't throw their grandparents out. Their grandparents help raise the kids. I mean, you could just tell in Western culture, this whole freedom to excess exists by how people don't want to have kids and gain responsibilities outside of feeding their own faces. Right? Everyone's like, I don't want to do that, because there is this sort of conditioned in us thing that you're going to be young forever and you want to live forever and you don't want anything to fucking cramp your style. Right? And that's, I think, primarily the conditioning of advertisers that worship youth. And just the amount of lying there is in marketing. So you see in blue zones, that's one of the main factors is intergenerational living. So these old people have some worth. They help you raise the kids. They pass down knowledge. They're coveted. They're coveted for their wisdom and their free time. I mean, Jesus Christ, I'm a parent. At least I got fucking one third generation person who can help out. There's also a bunch of other stuff that helps out, but one of the big ones is nurture strong family connections, and you see a lot of three-generation households. The grandparents live with the parents, and the parents raise the kids. So we keep it moving because we're aware we're going to die, and we actually obey the laws of nature and accept we're going to die, and we're not so fucking narcissistic. We accept that all things die. I'm sorry, billionaires. I know you have it excessively good and your freedom is crazy, and this system of, no end to up liberty and financial freedom makes it hard for you to let go. But you will die just like planets. How are we going to live forever if planets are going to die? If stars are going to die? And they'll just say, well, we want just a little more. Well, that's fine. But how much more? You fat fucking pig. Because it seems like this thing was designed by the intelligent designer for balance, symbiosis. So if you're not having kids and giving it over to the next generation, you're just hoarding yourself for how many hundreds of years, you fucking pig? It's not a coincidence that the freer people get, the fucking piggier they get, and the longer they want to live. How many of these billionaires are there trying to fucking fight God and live forever? How many of these joyless fucks are there out there who ignore their kids because they have a vitamin regimen they're trying to stick to in order to squeeze out another fucking month of life? That's not even fun because their day is filled with fucking vitamin regimens. This fucking retard who had the documentary, he's extending his life to live more days doing that? Having no life? Not enjoying any food? It's, it's like when they tell you get 8 hours of sleep. That's this new fucking thing. That fucking, all these influencers are, it's like, yeah, I could get 8 hours of sleep and be asleep for half my life. Or I could fucking party and get 5.5 and die a little earlier. But guess what? I was conscious for the same amount of hours. Right? Which one would you rather have? A long life where you're unconscious for 9 hours a day, or a shorter life where you're conscious for 14, partying it up? At the end of the day, the consciousness hours, the actual usable living hours are equal. So stop telling everyone how to live just because you're trying to sell content, you fucking pig. I'm getting too, don't really do this because then the whole economy will collapse because we don't make anything anymore. I'm just having some fun with it. I'm just having some fun with the truth of it. Am I wrong? Is 8 or 9 hours of sleep that much better than 4 if you're fucking, because if you're only sleeping 4, that means you're busy doing good shit or working hard, which is also good for the mind. So why does it have to be 8? Why is everyone trying to be here till 99? Now, I want to be here in 95 only because I have kids, but these people haven't had a realistic look at what the 80s and 90s look like. And let me tell you something, baby. Okay? It ain't a Lil Nas X concert. Everything hurts. If I were to recommend it, I would say, if you're lucky enough to make it to 85, throw yourself out a window at 86. Don't actually do that. But who am I kidding? If there's someone who's 85 watching this, they got a sense of humor about it. I'm just saying, the good times are behind you. What do you want to live to 130? Now, if you can upload my consciousness into the ether and I don't have a body anymore, I'm all for it. But if you don't think that's going to create a whole bunch of other problems with, infinity? I mean, who the fuck was to be infinity? We're not built for infinity. Whatever's outside this thing that constructed this thing is built for infinity. We just have a small kernel of it. And we've gotten all the warnings from all the different cultures' lore about fucking trying to take too much of this holy fire. All right? You fly too close to the sun, you burn your wings. You create Frankenstein, he wants to fucking eat you. You're only supposed to glimpse it. It's too powerful, and obviously it's not for us. Nuclear weapon, what did we do? We harnessed the fucking elements of the universe. Look at what it did. We're flying too close to the sun, my friends. We have to go back. Go back. It's like when you leave New York and you go, I want a better life for my kids, and you keep going. And you're like, oh, this is great. Okay, Yonkers, no, what's another 15 minutes for the safety of my kids? And you go another 15 minutes. And you go, okay, what's another 15 minutes? And you keep going till you hit Poughkeepsie. And then you go, fuck, we went 15 minutes too far. Go back 15 minutes. Guys, want to give a shout out, as always, to forthefree.art. Go check out their website. They host free shows and post music by local artists in Hawaii. Love them. Also, Nate Linder, IndigoLabsAgency.com. He's launched a new podcast called Entrepreneurship Unlocked with Nate Linder. Go check it out. He interviews entrepreneurs from all over the world. He interviews everyone from independent doctors to international touring artists to tech CEOs. Also, you can get marketing, managing from him and make some money off your presence. IndigoLabsAgency.com for your marketing needs. Also, check out the pod. Rebels-Raiders.com, of course. As always, he wants you to know he's up there. Buy the products, get the goat shirts. But also, Charlotte's Hills Farm Sanctuary in New Jersey is under attack again. The state's trying to force them off their land, this time by drowning them in legal fees. They already beat back one tax bill, and now it's a legal squeeze. Reclassify the land, blah, blah, blah. So the sanctuary is a legit 501c3 nonprofit, over 200 rescued animals. This kid loves animals, 200 rescued animals. So what does he want you to do? He's raising money to cover the legal costs. Just go to rebels-raiders.com, click on the charity tab, and it'll take you straight to the GoFundMe. All right? The owner is giving away his own personal ISO Bright tactical watch. Retails over 500. Anyone who donates is entered to win. So go get a watch. I mean, I hope this is fucking true. But either way, I ain't knocking the hustle. PCB Tech Art, I'm sure it is. PCBTechArt.com. Having wireless charging issues in your new vehicle? Shop PCBTechArt.com. Find them on Amazon. They've helped over 10,000 customers fix their charging issues. Use the code Yannis15 for 15% off and fix your wireless charging issues today. It's a great product.